Hi, Melina, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, woo, everybody hears each other.
But you can't see it, huh?
No, she can't see it.
Oh. How's that? That'd be weird. Like looking. Just, yeah.
So, all right, well, I guess we can call the meeting to order, so.
One moment.
Yeah, sure.
Just in case I'm not comfortable. Okay, so.
Okay, it is Thursday, August 26th, 2021. It's after 4 o'clock, and we're gonna call this, Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting to order. So, Teresa, would you call,
Brian Richards,
here?
Stephanie Hayes, here, Garrett Kravitz has excused, Melina,
Present.
and Desi Burrell. Yes. And then Stephanie Payne, our director. Present.
We have a quorum. We're due approval of minutes. So,
For the last meeting.
for the last one.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Can you hear us okay, Melina?
Sounds like we're quiet.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly clear.
Oh,
cool.
okay. Seconded, by the way.
Okay, approval of minutes. Sorry, oh. So, vote, right?
All in favor.
All in favor, it's been a while.
It's fine, it's fine.
No, help me through this. Yeah,
And do you want me to go through names, or would you like to just all say aye, now that we're,
let's just
I'll say aye.
all say aye.
Okay. Are you with that, Melina?
Yep, I'll use the little hand here thing.
Yeah.
I,
So all in favor, say aye.
I,
Approval of minutes has been passed. Okay, that was, excuse me. Number 3 on the agenda, amendments and approval of meeting minutes. So would that be, I can make a motion to entertain the approval minutes.
no, that's for the previous meeting we had. You know,
The
there is
agenda
an error on the agenda, I
Yeah.
just noticed that,
Oh, okay.
approval of
Oh, so just.
meeting
agenda.
agenda, yeah, my
Oh, what-
apologies, we're good.
Okay, so now
Reverse that, yeah, that was, let's go to 4. Visitors, views, delays with the agenda. Do we have any visitors?
I didn't say that, I read it, but I didn't.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we're on 4 there.
We don't have any visitors.
So we can skip that.
Are we gonna have, is there anything where we can, amend the agenda? Have some pieces?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't word it properly,
So
so
it
we
would
wanted
be,
to go.
number 3 would be, instead of meeting minutes, it should say agenda.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay, so for 3,
it would be approval of the agenda. Yep, and I would say I'd like to amend, or I would like to add something for that. That's right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
sure.
So I would like to add under new business, salt water approval.
Okay,
For that, I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as submitted.
Seconded.
okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, so now to the visitors, views related to the agenda. We don't have any visitors, do we, on Zoom? Yeah. So we can skip 4 and 5. Now we're just Stephanie with the director's report, so if you could fill in the thing.
Yep. All right, we are preparing for youth basketball season. I'm not sure what's gonna happen in Wrangell and whether we will do with the all-stars portion of it. Usually one weekend we go down there, the following weekend I come up here. Last year I got canceled out with COVID, and we'll just kind of have to see how it goes this year, whether we're gonna do that or not. Usually breakaway takes us over there. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. We're gonna give up the gym for a little bit on October 4th. They're gonna come in and set up about 3 o'clock on October 4th, and then we have the elections on October 5th. This happened last year as well. Normally, as you guys have seen it, it happens in the activity room. But with COVID and the way that it was spread out last year, it was beautiful. And it really worked really well. So we're gonna try and do that again this year in light of the sickness again. School's already approved, that Deb got ahold of everybody. So that's gonna be happening. So anything that happens that evening in the gym, which will be our basketball program on both those nights, and anything before or after basketball will be bumped, but everybody's really used to it. Preparing our current gym schedule for the increased usage once the school resumes on August 31st. And Scott just sent, I haven't had a chance to look at it, revised swim school schedule. But he, in the one that I saw last week, got something for everybody in there again. Great. So we were really hoping to be able to get in and retain our noon swim, our lunchtime swim, but the way the school's got it scheduled out, we can't do it. So I'm gonna, I think, and I know that it's got to do with COVID and the way that they have to break out the classes, and so like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, shrinks it all down. I'm hoping that next year we can start pushing back and get that lunchtime swim back. But, where we at? Pickleball has been going really well. Really excited to see that going. We did not have, normally we have floor refinishers to come in July and redo the gym floor. We didn't do that this year, but when they do, we are missing a line. So the net is right there. We're missing a line called the kitchen line. Anybody know about pickleball? Nope. Me neither. Okay. So there's a line called the kitchen line, and I want to have that added in. So the court's there. It's just missing that line, so that way it'll be a little more official. And we have 2 of them in the gym, so we can run them side by side. I'm super excited, and I really hope that as the fishing season kind of comes to an end and we get into the fall, that'll be a really good inside family event that can happen and get that really going. But they can be right now. Like it's mostly adults coming in. They're really a lot more into it. We had Mike Schwartz. Mike Schwartz wanted to do a pickleball clinic to kind of give everybody, like us, how to do it. And I don't think that happened, but we'll see it. If we get more people in here, we'll definitely do that. I'd like to know. It's really cool to watch. That's been happening. We hosted our very first Petersburg Community Blood Drive with the Alaska Blood Bank, and Julie coordinated everything with PMC, transportation to get the blood up to the airport, everything, and it went really, really well. I heard there was 107 appointments and a lot of blood given. So that was really cool. And I really want to continue doing that. They're hoping for maybe doing that like twice a year. That's really nothing else, at least doing it once a year. Yeah. Absolutely.
I would like, I would think twice a year if I could, would be really neat, because I couldn't make the first date.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a date on it, yeah.
I think Rotary is looking to sponsor that too. They're all things. Perfect, well, let us know. Get her done. I've been receiving continued conversations with patrons about their wants and doing the best to accommodate. One of the ones that I'm thinking of in particular is gymnastics.
Yeah.
And so when I was applying for the program coordinator position, one of my interview questions was, what would you want to bring in? That was mine. I'm like, heck yes, if they dance and keeping the kids limber and doing, I mean, that's just, I love it. I did it when I was younger, couldn't till now, but I did. And I thought it'd be great.
It
And
is. I took gymnastics here when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
you know, and when we were deciding whether to do, if the fee of being free for the public was gonna be able to be an option, I did a lot of digging into it and sent it to you guys. Gymnastics brought in a lot of revenue. I was really surprised. More than I think most anything else, with gymnastics.
Well, it's a diverse sport.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really look at it.
Anybody can do it. Track and field kids can do it, just to keep them moving.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then there's the toddler tumbler.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
and all that energy just like letting it flow around and.
Yes. So I haven't had a chance to sit and chat with Julie about it, so that's where I was going with that comment. I'm really gonna push for that. I'm back to work and working with the staff to catch up this week on repairs and happenings on the facility and preparing for our upcoming season, programs and events. Electrical engineers are preparing for our electrical fix. They're working with staff in the school to minimize any impacts and shutdowns to the pool during repairs. As I was walking away from my computer, I saw an email from Mark Morris talking about September 10th, that they were going to be in town. I will dig into that more to see exactly what they're planning to do during that September 10th date. But it's staying long. Sometimes they just pop into town, and they'll pop into town because he's got his own plane, his own boat. They pop into town. Unexpected. Don't buy, absolutely can buy. Please make this happen, but so I'll dig into that and see where they're going with it. But we're looking at September. There's been an issue with again, person labor's been astronomical, as well as the parts, and waiting for the parts. So it was an option to kind of push off even more with the prices to come down. I have hesitation with it because I have an extremely healthy fear of electrical situations, and
You already had one?
I'm getting right. I had them in my personal house, and so I'll see how they feel about it, and if they feel that it can wait, they know more than I do, and I'm just gonna take that leap of faith. But I would rather see it happen to me. If we do it, then it impacts the school and their curriculum. We have to ask our patrons. So we're still kind of working out the kinks on that. But parts are, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but parts are showing up out there, and it's all the ground torn up by rocks and wood, nobody get everything ready. So our maintenance technician has left in July, the end of July. His replacement has been chosen, will be joining our crew in mid-October. Trying to get him even sooner. He is down in Oregon, and he actually works for a Parks and Rec down there. His thing is more outside, working with trails. They've got like 65 miles of trails to use that. So he does a lot of outside maintenance. So it'll be a transition for him to come inside because we have our outside crew. But just knowing that he can jump out there and he's going to jump out there with that crew is awesome. I am super, super excited. His name is Keith Anderson. He is Julie Anderson's brother. And then for those of you that did not know, her maiden name was Anderson. So when she married, she's still in Anderson. So it's her brother. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm really excited to have him come on. So for joining us then, Scott has got his on here, his supervisor report. That's everything he's got going on. Just, oh God, I love these guys. So you can read up on that, and then both Scott and Julie have been working really hard to get us through some great summer schedules, offering tons of opportunities to enjoy the facility. And Teresa's been refining all of these processes behind the scenes and just grabbing every problem that we come across with both hands and rocking it out. So, yeah. Huge thank you to everybody that made this place run while I was gone. They were amazing. And then there is Scott. That's all I got.
Okay, any questions for the director? Lean, any questions? Can you hear me, Melina?
Yeah, sorry, I have myself on mute and it always takes too long to find the mute, but no questions, but great report. And it seems like really a testament to Stephanie's leadership that these great staff are sticking around and that we pulled Julie back in. So great work.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have her. Thank you.
I have a question, two for follow-up. One, the gymnastics thing you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of trying to find someone in the community? What, like, I know this is like really early on, but in your mind, what were you imagining?
There is a lady that got a hold of me, and I'd have to look at her name. You know what? Madeline, yes. Is it Valentine or, but you go to the Valentine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
With,
Or Art
James
Buckle.
Valentine.
Is
Yeah,
that her?
youngster.
You
Under
could
20.
up here, her top lady, she had a bunch of kids and stuff.
Yeah.
See? Perfect.
So it is James's call.
It is.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And I think a lot of the moms have been.
She's very, well, she's been doing a lot around the community.
She's already certified, so we'll set her up and do it with our new process, where she's gotta have insurance and things like that, but she's already certified, so her insurance shouldn't cost much, and we'll run it like a program. Yeah, that's my hope.
Okay, that's
And
what you were imagining for that program.
Yeah, I want it to be committed to doing it, because she was like, doing like a lot of people wanted to, I will finagle for it. No, we'll see, and I haven't,
In your
communicated with her,
imagination, that's how it
Yeah.
goes, yeah,
and then we'll see how it goes, kind of drum it out.
okay.
Well, there, you know, it's obviously this is sport, but there's a lot of comparisons, but like, there's a lot of, you know, alumni that cheerleaders, there's a lot of tumbling. And, maybe they don't have, they're well versed in like straight up gymnastics, but that might be a route to recruit more, you know, gymnastics. Yeah, exactly. It's like one person with any kind of program, that's a lot of weight, like, you know, I mean, if you're sick, yeah, what,
And all those kids,
Yeah.
well.
I
Oh,
feel like if
absolutely.
you maybe found someone to assist,
Mhm.
that might be more interesting to anyone who was thinking about it.
She would, it would be best if she could bring on some, like,
Yeah.
extra helper, and pay them that way and go that way.
yeah.
We're really still, we have a couple of positions and never did fill. Nobody applied for them, that would have helped alleviate some things, but. So, and what was the other?
My second question was, some time ago, you had mentioned that you were going to look at creating a kind of, for your employees, like a how-to, you know, like a streamlined book or collection of manuals of how everything functions at Parks and Rec.
Mhm.
Have you started that? Did you ever start working on that?
We
How's
have-
that going?
When we all do something up or create a problem, she goes through and fixes it, and she will give a detailed line by line, this is how you do it, it's here, it's there. Has them run through it.
Maybe pictures, so they see what the screen looks like and arrows and, if it's too much, you guys, if I'm insulting you, they're like, you love it. And
Yeah.
so they have a binder.
Okay, of that.
That they're putting
Okay,
into.
great.
Tucker Hagerman, when he was here, he had literally wrote the book on this place, so his binder is on it as well.
And I wondered, did it include things like the opening person, here's all your checklists, here's what you do, okay, or is it like all together?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she puts down, I'm so sorry,
No,
but she's been sitting down with each employee so that they know what she wants them to do. And I feel like our daily emails have gotten so detailed on that too.
yeah, everybody, if their shift ends, gives us an email too on different things. So
Well,
we know what's going on, and if there's an issue with two tanks or chlorine or anything, it's brought into there, and everybody's in that email.
I hadn't heard about it for a while, so I'm glad it's
Yeah.
starting to develop and work.
Communication?
Great, yeah.
Wonderful
Okay,
thing.
those are the only questions I had for you.
Yeah, okay, well, I think we've covered the director's report. So moving on to item number 7, unfinished business. What do we have for unfinished business? So, there were questions about how the survey went out, the platform used, and the time frame.
I think we answered those last meeting.
Or, yeah.
I didn't have further I think I brought those up last
Maybe-
meeting.
Oh, yeah,
No, they're on them, they're on this agenda,
but it was already addressed.
but I thought they were answered,
Okay.
but they're on here, so maybe someone else feels like they weren't answered.
Well, if
Okay.
everyone feels okay about it, I mean,
Yeah.
we could definitely move on. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, no questions. We'll just, and then, the other part would be Director Steen went over what she'd like to do with the information gathered. I missed the last week, but was that,
Yeah,
Okay,
I feel like she did a very good job of compiling that information for us. And you went over what you would like to do with said reports from the community. I don't feel like it still needs to be under unfinished business, the survey. I feel like
Yeah, I
that's pretty wrapped up.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
We can move on then. So number 8, new business. So,
So I have to add the saltwater
Yep.
pool on, just because
Yep.
at the top time, I had it on, and we were talking about, if it has a saltwater pool, what would it entail to get one here? And because I'm a historian, I was like, figures kind of popped up a little bit. So I don't know if that's ever been looked at or. It's been brought up in the past. I know it's a completely different system. And so, like, everything that we have happening would all have to change. I know it's expensive. I don't know exactly how much, because that's really likely to dig into. So it's expensive to get it going or expensive to run? I think it's a little bit cheaper to run because you don't have to put all the chemicals. There's just going to be refilling with salt and making sure that you're at the correct parts per million of salt. But there's a UV light that also it has to run through. I think your initial startup is where you're going to put all your money. I don't think it would be that much after that. And probably with all the other things on it. Yeah, our repair is probably not the best time to 1.8 million for the, like, for their scoping document that we did receive. But so part of the scoping document, if you will, let's say the first page of it is just what it's going to take to immediately fix a current situation. And then everything else is to the pages and paragraphs thereafter are just ideas on how you can make this place more efficient. When the mechanical engineer came in, he was blown away about how inefficient this place was. And pumps that are too big, and therefore using more energy than they should be to pump out a little bit of water, things like that. And so to go through and do all of those fixes, for 1 point.
Yeah.
So looking at that kind of a number just to be better, just to be more efficient.
Yeah.
That's a staggering number.
Yeah, I mean, not being an expert in the field, but I think since we're already established with chlorine and whatnot, I mean, there's pros and cons to whatever way you go, but I just think at this point, if we had like a big portion of the town was like, you know, crying out for a saltwater pool, I would say, hey, let's listen to the public. But
I'd like to. I just put it on because I was asked.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I'm
not trying to throw you under the bus. But you know,
I understand.
You know.
That would be great. I mean, it's like survey is going out 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But it's real. Wow, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, I'd love that. It's all wonderful. You know. I don't need any extra help. It doesn't.
I stand in saltwater pools and I don't float more.
I think the amount of salt is pretty, it's not like the red.
It's not like, it's not like the Dead Sea where
Really
you're sitting on top of it.
That would be nice.
I think it's definitely, though, you're right, a really neat suggestion and something to keep on the back burner and just in the back of our mind after we deal with things like electrical and bringing our building up to standards before we can then go to above and beyond to change system.
And I would definitely suggest that we put out a survey to the community.
Someday.
I mean, later on, if it gets to that, just to like, you know, see if people are actually really interested in that.
We know, and in that time, when we looked at, I was looking at I saw a manual the other day, and that end, the gym site, 30 years old this year. Came around in 1991, in June of 1991. The site is 16 years old.
Yeah.
So there's definitely gonna have to be some bigger upgrades as we go down the line, and I'd love for that to be one of them.
Yeah, it'd be good to, like
Gonna
you're
get
kind
a
of.
5-year goal.
Yeah, well, like, if someone went through kind of a system here, it sounds like, and, you know, looking for efficiency, all that stuff. I mean, it'd be nice to kind of do, you know, the full building, the full, I mean, maybe not right now, it's already 1 point, however much, you know, there's a lot of money being thrown around, and obviously, we had kind of a disaster there with the electrical side of things, but, you know, preventive maintenance is huge, in like, in everything, really, you know, so, like you're saying, it would be nice to establish a plan where, you know, you have someone, a trusted contractor or someone who accepts, you know, your building and the pool before we get to a critical state where it's like,
And start making those decisions,
so.
weighing those pros and cons.
Something to think about.
We'll start throwing those numbers out early, so it's not a sticker shock later.
Yeah. Okay, well, No, we're on to the LSC.
There's, so I think the first one was, Melina had presented a letter. Melina, would you like to discuss that?
Sure. I think you've been awesome enough to include it in the packet if people scroll down or flip the page if you guys have them. I already caught a few typos that I just corrected. But I just thought it would be a nice gesture to say thank you from the community to the Forest Service for prioritizing the Ravens Roost project, because it really bumps up quality of life and things like property values and stuff to have really nice trails. So I just drafted one, and if anybody wants to suggest edits, we could edit it. And I wasn't totally sure who it should be actually from, but any options are fine. I guess it could come from the commission, it could come from the director, or we could pass it along to the assembly to see if they would send it to the Forest Service on behalf of the borough.
I almost like the idea of the assembly. I know the assembly has bigger things to deal with, but I like the idea of it coming from the assembly because it's the whole community. And I think everybody, not just us at this table, will appreciate that trail now. So,
I think it's a great idea.
so I love your idea, Melina. I think,
Their Thanksgiving, so maybe they're waiting for it to get done,
Yeah.
all that.
yeah, so I think you're right, Melina, if we can, to send it on to the assembly.
Yeah.
So that they can put their, approve it, put their names on it and send it to the Forest Service. I recommend doing that at least.
I think
Okay.
it's a great, by the way, Melina. Yeah. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
I guess I would make a motion that we, anyone, I guess just to make a clear motion that we, as a advisory commission, pass this on to the Petersburg Assembly as a draft to give to the Forest Service.
I second that. That was your motion, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already kind of had.
Yeah.
We
We have to
already had
vote on that?
discussion.
Yep.
We
Okay.
have discussion and then I guess we'll call the question.
So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Right.
Cool.
Who's gonna
Right.
give it to them?
And then I guess also if anyone sees any more typos or something that should be worded differently, just let me know. And then I guess Teresa can just take it from the Google document.
What typo did you see?
Well, I spelled Earl Stewart's name wrong. It's Stewart like with a T.
Oh, okay, and then,
And then there was a colon after the word Petersburg in the third paragraph. I
Yep.
took that out. I think that's it.
Okay.
So, if I may, I'd like to clarify directions. You're saying that you want me to proofread, type it out, and deliver? Is that what you're saying?
I was saying members of the commission, just to make sure that you guys feel good about the language and to let us, myself or Teresa, know if something needs to be changed. And then if, I guess it's you, Teresa, to just pass it along to staff so that it appears on the assembly's agenda.
Okay, and am I to notify anybody once I do this?
Yeah, I guess CC us or something. I don't know.
I don't know if that's allowed.
Debbie's on the.
I guess
Well,
just whatever you would do. I don't know what the protocol is, but just getting it into their pipeline.
Yeah, I guess that's where we're confused, is
I think
what's
you
the
can-
correct
I think you can
protocol.
add it, like, so we would send it to the assembly and then CC you guys, just, again, same rules, nobody reply all. And then that way everybody knows that it's gonna hand it over to everybody, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And then that way everybody knows when it happens.
on?
No,
No, I'm
we're
not
just
on
hosting
there.
on the announcer, but. Typically see those.
And do you have questions for this?
No, I call for questions.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah, no worries. Sounds like a plan, okay. So, section B of new business, trails subcommittee, board member Richard me, discuss this agenda item. So, guess what I should probably talk about it a bit before I make any kind of motion or anything. So what I was thinking, I've been doing a little bit of research and going around town and talking to different entities and local businesses and whatnot. And I think this letter, the thank you letter, would go quite nicely with my trail concept. Right now, we have, Parks and Rec, PIA, Forest Service are the main contributors of trails on the South Island. The Forest Service is oftentimes understaffed, and only has so much money. And a lot of that money obviously is spent on the Raven Street project, which is awesome and we love. But there's also a lot of trails that are neglect. PIA has one part-time worker as of now that's working on trails, Jack Black now, and he does a great job. We all love him for doing his work, but trails are extensive and incredibly hard work and so much time and planning. Then Parks and Rec, you guys are obviously can only do so much too. With your grounds guys taking care of all the beautiful flowers around town and all the other things that have to do. So and this is not a blame, this is of trying to unite all the forces so that we can create eventually what I would like to see is a vast network of trails and recreation outside as well, that encompasses as many people that are going to be part of it. So I guess, what I want to do is get the town talking about what they want for trails, and eventually try to, like I said, bring as many people together as possible, and just further, trails and eventually recreation where, if you think about it, we have one cabin, we have one Forest Service cabin on Raven Street, which is awesome. It's awesome, but not everyone wants to hike up the mountain to get a cabin, right? So if we could, rally the troops, rally the resources, and I know workers and volunteers are hard, and maybe it's just a pie in the sky, but maybe we could do something with it. So I want to create, at least start with the trail subcommittee and get people talking about it and seeing if that's even an interest in this town. So I guess any questions? Yes.
Would you like to open it up for discussion now that you've explained what your point was to us, like why you put it on the agenda?
Yeah.
Do you want to open to discussion?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I want everyone's opinion on it, if anyone wants to give an opinion. But yes, questions, comments, concerns, any? Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, Melina, on the computer.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I would be happy to support that, Brian, and help advertise to the community subcommittee opportunities to talk about your vision for more partnership on trails. I think in our last meeting, we discussed some of the potential downfalls of having a subcommittee and ensuring participation. And I know that I personally would be happy to just kind of drum up, if we had a date in advance for some of those chats, to figure out how to get more people there and part of that conversation. So yeah, I just want to say I support your idea. I really like how passionate you've been about this.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll also say I support the idea of committee control, but I don't support it as a substance out of and I see a working with everybody, and I think that's awesome. But what about friends of trails? Start a group outside of Parks and Rec to come to Parks and Rec, to come to the Forest, to come to EIA to say, can we partner?
Right.
Because I'm totally different. I think it could have such a great photo of life there, but I can't visualize how our community started up.
Right.
Because to start a brand, I think that's
where
where
a lot of those kind of things
start,
and
then going to partnership.
Right. Yeah, and I'm flexible. I was actually considering too where, you know, even though I'm bringing it up here, it's more of using this as a platform, right? It does, the trail subcommittee, you know, whether or not it has Parks and Rec trail subcommittee, in fact, I think it'd almost be better if it was more independent, because I don't want to be, you know, pulled one way or the other. Not like we're in some kind of Game of Thrones political warfare here, but I mean, you know, just like I want it to be very inclusive and open to whoever has some feedback and wants to be part of something that is about growing trails.
What about Alaska Mental Health?
I have not contacted them, but that's, I talked with Paul Olson. I talked with a lot of people. I talked with the superintendent of schools, Erica, and she was really on board about bringing in like elementary school kids, you know, into seniors, where we could do like a working program, you know, where even like the little ones could like, you know, whatever, plant flowers on the side of the trail,
Right.
you know, whatever.
Work at the trailheads and put signs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Scouts.
Yeah, exactly. So I really,
I mean, PIA, I've gone to their meetings and get
yeah.
different things.
Yeah, I had a really good sit-down meeting with CIA. We talked for almost 2 hours about trails. They're so willing to work with the community. Like they really, you know, it's definitely not an up-person mentality.
No. Yeah, they bring in so much to try and help out and do, right down to the sidewalk.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't lead to their property, but it leads to people off the street.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So I really want, because I mean, you know, I think pretty much my dad was about the only one that's like, that doesn't gonna work. But like, you know, I've talked with like, I've talked with a lot of different people and businesses and entities. I even talked with the Coast Guard, you know, so, and they were like the commander right now, Michaela, yeah, she really wants to get her and her crew, you know, working. So if we can partner with the Coast Guard, you know, there's a workforce. Yeah. So that's, I mean, whatever you want to label it as, it doesn't really matter to me.
What about like mountain biking? So, but then
Yeah.
they're like multi-use trails.
Yeah.
Because then you have that.
Yes. And we talked about that too.
I'd love to have like a bike park. You see, but up in Juneau, they've got one at, I can't remember the Cove Park, something like that. Oh, Cove Park. And they've had this, and I've seen them out in the woods, out in the woods.
Yeah,
Would never even know.
yeah.
I mean, I would love to go on that. We had trails that even for that.
I think, you know, Colin Martin had a really great idea about doing that because, you know, we definitely want, you know, handicap accessible trails which are awesome, right? All inclusive.
But it's wide enough and.
But you also want something that's exciting and fun for
Right.
many ages as well. Maybe it's not as accessible for everyone, which is what it is. But he actually had a really good idea of building a downhill mountain bike path by Ravenswood Trail. That's right in the woods next to it. So, you know, coming up from Sandy Beach, right? You know, that's part of the trail, Ravenswood. Like basically right next to it or close to, like through the woods, you can work another trail. And then you could even possibly do it where bikers, it's like a one-way for bikers, where they can bike up the walking trail. I think it's wide enough. And that way they're not going fast and really, you know, with liability and injury, it's pretty low. There might be some, you know, pushback on that. But then they could be a one-way with bikes going up that, and then it'd be a downhill right next to the trail to be safe.
Right, you don't have to worry about upcoming traffic. Yeah, they did four-wheeler trails like that in Portland.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, this guy's really good.
Yeah, I have a question for clarification purposes. Does anyone at the table know what a friend of blank entails and what that, when you say like, oh, well, but friends of trails, is that just a group of random people? What is that registered with the borough somehow? Are they an official capacity at all?
I don't know, because we had when I very first started here, and I only ever got to one meeting before it kind of disbanded, and Paul Olson would know, because he was part of that, and it was a friend of Parks and Rec, and it was not super, were you part of that? No, but I'm not saying. And so it's not super official, and I don't think we ever kept like really official notes like this. You don't vote on stuff, things like that, but like they would just pick a project,
Right.
and that's what they just wrote that. Friends of the library, I'm not sure how that goes. Or is there official capacity? What they're obligated to do, what they're not obligated to do?
Then I would propose that before we make a trail or vote on a trail subcommittee, we find out what a friend of trails would be authorized to even do, or how official they would be, right? So that we can know properly which would be the better option for the community.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, and it
Yeah,
sounds
fair.
like nobody at the table seems to really know.
Yeah.
So unless Marlena, you have input there.
I was actually just Googling the Friends of the Library to see how they were structured. And I think it's either a nonprofit or it's run through the library, because they actually take donations right on the website. But I would support your idea, Stephanie, to have a breakout discussion to get that question answered and figure out the best format for moving forward with this group.
So Teresa, would Debbie be the proper person to ask?
Yes, Debbie was going to try to make this meeting, so she could help
Okay.
with this, but she wasn't able, I was like, keep looking at, she wasn't able to attend,
Okay.
but I will definitely pass that on.
So you'll
But
pass.
I would say that we would probably waste a lot of energy attempting to start a nonprofit, and that it would be good to have some kind of formal structure for either passing through donations or making sure we are insuring people or whatever. So whether we umbrellaed under a different nonprofit or we're some kind of entity under the Parks and Rec Advisory Commission, either way, I think it would be good to leverage some other group.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Teresa has kindly offered to pass this question on to Debbie, who will properly be able to report back to us. Do you know if she would be able to email this answer to us, or would it have to be in a meeting capacity?
I think like I have been, where I
Okay.
find out and just kind of go over it with her to make sure I worded it properly, which that's what I did with this.
Yeah.
She gave it to me and then I was like, okay, look this over, see if I understood what you said to me, and so I can ask those questions about that.
Okay, perfect, and you would be able to even, of course, email that out to us today. Oh, great, perfect, well then that was like really great, I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, I guess. So would we table this then? I mean, kind of,
Table
yeah.
the discussion.
Okay, yeah, so we'll, so I entertain a motion to table this, or,
No.
okay, just go, okay, cool.
So like we're casual on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It just seems like something that, I mean, we're on an island in Southeast Alaska, you know, it's like,
Brian, would you want to look ahead to the winter or the fall and plan a work session to work on this question of how to get organized?
Stephanie, yes.
You're on the ballot. Right?
Wait, are we done with this?
Wait, this is that, she's still talking
We have
about
to
in
figure
your,
out who are going to be around later on this fall.
yeah.
The elections are in October.
yes.
Well, that's, I mean, just.
So-
But before we jump from that question,
Sure.
Brian is still on. Because you were voted for a 2-year term.
No,
Or 1 year, okay, never mind, that answers that question.
well, yeah, just, I mean,
So we can absolutely plan for it, and whoever's here is here.
yeah, well, that's what, you know,
I just wanted to bring that up.
Get an answer from Debbie.
No. No. It was inquiring if Brian would be interested in creating a work session based on the information we find out.
But once we find out,
I was hoping to make something somewhat official. There's a good chance it's my last meeting, you know. And so, you know, to be completely frank, my plan was to establish this trails program, and then I want to jump ship into this, and then focus on this, you know, work with you guys.
So you can be the head of the Friends of the Trail, and you can sit in the meeting.
I just want to use.
These are open meetings,
Right.
so I think it's good to have all the.
And I just wanted to pass along, I texted Tara Alcock and she said Friends of the Library is an independent 501c3 nonprofit.
501c3 is not that difficult.
thing.
And it's,
I've heard that.
as long as you upkeep, I mean, it's once a year, you fill out a card and say blah, blah, blah. and
That's
it's
not,
good.
that's not difficult, but being on the board of a nonprofit, every single other paperwork that you're required with the state of Alaska is time consuming if you don't already know what you. Because you can't just have the government say, okay, you have to have the state and then you have to have.
Well, I
Commerce
mean,
and
if
all
you're gonna
of
have a
it.
group like that, you
Yeah, so
usually have
you
a
need,
secretary
that
that
does
does
those.
And that was what, you know, the overall goal of, you know, me bringing this stuff, so subsidy is, eventually I do want to start a trail, you know, trail association, whatever, nonprofit, and then just gather whoever wants to be part of it, help out, contribute, you know, so.
Brandon, he's really good at grant writing, work.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, I would
Yeah.
make a motion that we have staff schedule a trails focused work session, you know, whenever, sometime in the fall, that we could attend either as re-elected board members or as members of the community.
I like that.
Seconded,
So seconded, oh, so now we can vote on, it, right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This is to have a work session
About the trail.
about the trails under fire season.
so whatever Debbie finds out will then be discussed with the community and with us so that we can say, okay, community, what are you guys thinking? Is people wanting, Brian's wanting to take on a nonprofit, this is what Debbie found out, we can pass that on to the community. The members who are interested understand how they can then discuss with us on official level.
Yeah, and then it's sort of incumbent upon us to advertise that date amongst our networks so that people understand that's a chance to kind of be a part of that new group.
And we have to host the work session so that they can come and talk to us. So
You want to do it with first and second, not through.
even if he does it through somebody else, we would still have to have a work session to hear them out. Yeah, to hear out their plans, and all those stuff.
And that's a work session, not at a meeting.
And you can make it an official meeting, but I don't think everyone needs to
really
go.
focuses on just that, so you
Mhm.
spend your entire hour, you have to go through all of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
right.
If I can make sure I have this worded properly, you want to schedule a work session, trails focused meeting in the fall upon information gathered from Debbie, Elena,
Yes, yeah. I mean, it can be very simple, just finding a date to host a trails work session where we can just focus in on this exact question and not have to do all the other stuff. Yeah,
yep, that's perfect.
thank you.
Okay, sounds good. I think we can move on to Teresa's done writing down.
Thank you.
Yep, okay. So, item number 9, communication. So,
This is if you've heard anything from the community, like you had said, you had reached out. If anybody has anything that the community has come to you and you wanna.
So that would be
That would have
where
been
the
where you
water
like
thing goes.
Generally, yeah.
That, or discussion,
Okay.
yeah, that, I was, made notes of that, going,
is there any communication items that the board or anyone wants to bring up? I'm seeing no, so let's move on to number 10, discussion items. Anything to, in that category?
So I'll say that I've been here every day since I've had the so almost a month. And this looks like a really good, really fix. Staff feedback, you were gone, maybe that's why you were out. Probably why they were so happy. No, but I mean, it feels like it's going, and you know, now that they have a director, that's a director and not trying to do it through the city manager stuff. I mean, I can make it part of it anyway, but it's been really fun to see how the interaction with, because we spend all kinds of people, but I see a lot of the comments and
people that, are coming in and out and really see.
Yeah, they're great down there. Yeah, I love it. There's so much life down there and happiness, and it's awesome. It's a really fun place to go.
The lifeguards on the deck, they're all so So, under discussion items, actually, it would be a good time to bring up your point, Stephanie, about when people's appointments end for this board, or for this committee. My appointment ends, and and Melina's ends. That's incorrect. Let me rephrase that, Melina, sorry. Brian and my appointment ends. You were appointed, Desi, and I believe that ends in October. And that would therefore mean Melina's also ends in October. I need to go down to the chambers and put in my application to be on the ballot. Today, I thought it was the 26th today. Okay, so I will be a write-in again. Great. She's gonna love me for that one. I read it was the 26th, and I actually went down there before this meeting, and they were like, "Oh no, yes, actually up to Parks and Rec," and I had to run up here. Anyway, you wrote it correctly. You wrote it correctly, and I read it wrong. So I went down there for this meeting and was like, "Oh,
okay. Meeting is that Parks and Rec?
And I was like,
I thought
"Oh
you
my
were
god."
gonna ballot.
Yeah, I was like,
the ballot.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh my gosh, I got all sorts of backwards. So anyway, I will be a write-in then.
Okay.
And so I will be that a write-in position for 1 year, or the one I will be applying for.
Okay.
And that's all I can speak to on that.
Yeah, that's right. And I had it wrong. Melina's already on the ballot. Yep. We'll keep that up.
Okay, is there any other discussion items? Hearing none. 11, recognition.
I have one. I have a recognition.
Go ahead, Anna.
I actually just was doing childcare for a friend and spent 3 hours down at Sandy Beach Playground, and have been down there a couple of times babysitting and caring for kids, and just wanted to say to Desi, thank you for implementing the project so beautifully. It really looks nice, and it's great to spend time there with lots of different kids and just get a feel for the place. And if we are interested again as a Parks and Rec committee to do a thank you letter to the Rotary for that project, that might also be something we could consider. But anyway, while Desi's here, just want to say thanks.
Thank you, Melina. That means a lot. And there are a lot to, and man, it is one busy place.
Very.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely.
And gosh, there were so many people involved, really partnered with a lot of people. So I think Parks and Rec being pretty involved as well, along with CIA, Cameron Micron, AML, and it just goes on and on, the community, hundreds of people. So I think your appreciation here is well recognized, and I can pass it on to others. I don't think you need to do that. But it is really nice to hear. I appreciate that a lot.
Wonderful. Any other recognitions? Hearing none, I think I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Before we
Oh,
that, can we decide on the next meeting date?
Yeah, and then the work session date.
Okay, next meeting can be, are we trying to do that before we're all gone, or we would like to do that?
I think you already did this is last.
Yeah, this is last, so he's gone then. So the election is in
October 5th.
thank you. And so, well, then it would basically be after that. With the new board, I think Stephanie is perhaps right immediately after, so the board can continue to keep rolling, and the new people will have to be brought up to speed. So I think, if we can do it in October, that would be really great. just so that whoever's on the new board can catch up and then prepare for the new year and to assist you however we can.
You wanna do,
I think we could keep it Thursdays at this time. Yeah, 14.
okay,
Great.
and we'll do it kind of the combo of Zoom and in person, kind of like we're doing right now.
Uh,
How's that work?
And
Yeah,
see what the rules are at that time.
Yeah.
Right, I guess we should probably keep it all this way.
Yeah, we just wait and we can say October 14th at 4 p.m. again.
Yeah, and I mean.
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll probably adjust too, depending on who we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, even though, pandemic and everything, but I mean, to keep Zoom open regardless of pandemic or not.
Pretty convenient.
It's exactly, some people are homebodies, they can't make it, so I would say just that, even though it is, I know it's probably a bit of an issue, like technical stuff, whatever.
Not really. It's
Yeah,
not it. I mean, we're getting there.
I mean, anywhere,
It's
like,
rather entertaining to go through.
yeah, I mean, anytime you can like keep things as open as possible to invite more people, get opinions, keep it community oriented.
Okay, and then what about your work session? When you guys want to do that?
I would, Brian, since you really want to attend that,
I do. I would like
what
to
would
part
be,
of
I would like to do that after the 14th, so that the new board knows about it. That would not be very fair to vote them in and then have the people like, oh, why have we already missed this? So after the 14th would be preferable,
Yeah.
Brian, and Stephanie does not have to attend that. Same, obviously, if I voted on, I should.
I'd probably still
Oh,
go.
yeah, so
Honestly.
when would be a time that your schedule is much
Whenever.
better than?
If you want, we want to do like 2 weeks later, kind of give them a
Yeah.
heads up and let them roll it around in their head.
Yeah, do we want to do the 28th and just keep it on a Thursday?
Yeah,
Okay, Brian, okay, October 28th.
Do you know where you want to do that at?
wherever we can get as many people that wanna participate, it doesn't matter to me,
You can't get into the gym at 4.
And if we do it later, can we? We don't have to do
We
it
would
at
have,
4.
we would have, we don't get into the gym until 6, and then we have basketball happening.
Okay. Is it,
Maybe the activity room.
Are we doing a October thing or Halloween thing?
Halloween. I don't know when we're gonna do that, 'cause Halloween's on a Sunday.
oh, that's fun.
I like the
That's October,
the activity room, it's fairly large, and it's right there.
We can open the door, get airflow through there.
Yeah.
Oktoberfest usually runs, it'll probably be the 22nd, 23rd, that weekend.
Or
It'll be
the
weekend
4th
before.
weekend of October. Yeah,
So,
so that would be the 23rd.
so at the work session, would it be again a 4 o'clock, meeting?
When is the activity?
Well, you might wanna do it later so that you can get people after work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would do it like
5:30?
5:30, 6,
I would say
6.
6.
that way
Okay.
people can get in out the road, get
Yeah.
home, feed their kids.
That makes sense.
Okay, so that's still on October 28th then?
Yeah.
Okay, at 6 p.m. in the activity room, does that
Yeah.
work? Okay.
How do you guys want to advertise to get the community aware of it?
I mean,
Melina, you're the best at that. How would you like to advertise?
If we can have a notice on the borough's website of that meeting. And if borough staff is able to pass that notice to the radio, I think that's a great way. And then if we get a Facebook post, I'm happy to share that to the different groups, but it'd be great to flag me or let me know that that post is out there. Cause I think one time there was a meeting coming up and I never saw the Facebook post just because of the algorithm. And so I never shared it.
Borough post, you mean like our Parks and Rec?
Yeah, either the borough or Parks and Rec, whatever's easiest for you guys, or both.
Yeah, we do, and then, like, a lot of times, who is it, Tara's in charge of it, or boy, I'm telling you what, there's the seconds after we post something, they've got it, like, they've got to make sure all your words are spelled right, or right off the bat. So we'll wait and figure out do we need to wait and figure out how this is gonna go down before we really start advertising that?
Probably.
With the whole friends of,
Yeah, we probably also need to.
And that will just give us, well, yeah, I think you could do the work session, but we'll give us guidance during that work session to let everybody know how it has to be set up. So I don't think, yeah.
I would highly suggest like sooner, rather than later advertising, that way people can finish it. And yeah, I mean, the radio.
I think no matter what, I would like whoever is supposed to officially on behalf of Parks and Rec ask the radio to run a
Oh, yeah, PSA.
a PSA on the radio, no matter what, I would like to see a PSA on the radio.
Well, and I'd be willing, even though, I mean, this is my last meeting, I'd be willing, I guess, independently, to get with KFSK and talk about this whole.
Well, yeah, that's not that, yeah, you can do that.
So, I mean, yeah, right, I don't have to ask for permission. So, I mean, I plan on doing, work as well.
Brian, on that topic, you might check with Tom and Hannah and see if you can, be a Tradio co-host one day. That's a time where they sometimes get a chance to talk about, an idea you have or a kind of nonprofit-y type thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, try to get the word out there. Cool. So, I guess we never really adjourned the meeting. We're like right on the cusp.
Yeah, I think that's your next move.
No.
So I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Lena.
It's 5:08. Oh, sorry, I thought you said what
No.
time is it? Never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah, there's open swim every night.